Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the worldwide ministry of Reverend John D. Couch. Reverend Couch is considered by many to be one of America's greatest preachers. He has traveled the world preaching the Word of God with power and deliverance. Reverend Couch says, "I do not preach sermons. I change lives through the Word of God." Many call him bishop, apostle, evangelist, pastor, but many are proud just to call him friend. And now, Reverend John D. Couch, known to his friends around the world as the Rev.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight here in the beautiful state of Tennessee. God is a good God. He will always be a good God. No matter what you're going through, He is still God, and He is Jehovah Jireh. He will provide. I want to take just a few moments today before I begin in the ministry and the teaching. I want to say happy birthday to our good friend Gay Gregg and to our good friend Nancy Webb. And I think they both just turned like 18 or maybe 19. I don't know for sure, but happy birthday. I know it's a couple of days late, but happy birthday to you ladies. And I also want you to pray for my friend, Brother Oakley McCoy, Reverend Oakley McCoy. He's getting ready to go to Malaysia. He's leaving Sunday night from Atlanta. And I want you to pray that God will protect him and his beautiful wife. And if you can just pray for one of them, pray for his wife, because I like her the best. And if you would seriously take them on your heart and ask for protections for God's protection over their travel plans. And to each and every one of you, I want you to know how special you are to us and how much we love you and how much we appreciate you. And I want you to know that God is still good. I need to tell you just a few things before I begin. Our camp meeting, August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right here in the beautiful state of Tennessee in Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee area. The hotel is actually in Bristol, Virginia. But we want you to make your plans now. Don't put it off. Do not put it off. If you just make one camp meeting a year, this is the one you want to make. We have people coming from everywhere. We'll be giving you the hotels, and we'll have them on their website by next week. We'll have everything up and running. Our new website, by the way, is up. And to you that are in different countries, to you that live, well, even in the States, we have changed our website and we fixed it so you can go straight to our website, and we sell our CDs for $12, and you can download them right there. I don't have to ship them to you. For an offer of $12, you can just click on it. There's a shop. It says shop. Just go and fill your little card up, and they're $12 a piece. That way it saves me the postage. The postage have got to where it's $4, $5, $6 a piece. And I started to send some stuff to Trinidad. It was $30 for one tape American just to send the tapes. So I want you to help us, and please go in and make sure you go in and look at our website. It's all new. It's Reverend REVJOHNCOUCH.com. You can go in and you can enjoy a lot of pictures on there. Most of you are in the pictures. Somewhere in there you're in the pictures. So we want you to go and visit with us and take time and really appreciate the things that God's doing. Our camp meeting is August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30 nightly, or 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock nightly. Thursday morning, Friday morning, and Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. We will have a meeting, two meetings a day. And on Saturday, we have a 10:30, a 2:30 to 7:30. And our 2:30 meetings, we minister to everybody there. It is very important that you have men and women that care enough about you to minister to you. Where there are no prophets, there are no prophecies. And where there are no prophecies, God doesn't have anything to fulfill. You need to be around men and women of God that'll prophesy into your life. I am what I am because of the prophecies I have received. Paul told Timothy, don't forget the prophecies that's gone out over you. That prophecy is a stepping stone for you. You may be going through the hardest time in your life, but when God says, thus saith God, it can change you. It puts the light at the end of the tunnel. So we want you to be in all these meetings. Brother Steve Warren will be there with us singing. We have people that are coming in from everywhere. We don't want to have this camp meeting without you. We have some rooms that'll run from $50 up to $75, and you can pick out the room you want. They're all nice rooms, or I wouldn't recommend them. But make your plans now. That sounds like a long time away. It will be here before you know it. And I want to talk to you about some things at the end of this teaching that I'm going to give you today. And I thank you very kindly for all the response we received on the 3 weeks of the teaching of the spirit realm. It is very important that you know what's going on in the spirit. You know what's going on in the spirit, not only in your life, but in lives of others. So I thank you for the great response that we received. And I thank you for joining us Monday nights. We're here, and we want you to just relax for a moment and listen to what God has to say. I'm reading to you out of the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. For everything there is a season. I want to talk to you about seasons in our life. Many of us don't like certain seasons in the natural. We have our summer, our fall, our winter. When God begins to move, there's seasons in your life. Some people like the cold weather, some people like the hot weather. But if you're a cold weather person, you're always looking forward to the break of that spring. If you're going through winter, you're saying, I'm wanting spring to come. If you love the heat, then you're wanting winter to come. Sometimes when we're in seasons, we don't particularly care about that particular season, but we have to make it through one season to the other. Life comes in many seasons. In our spiritual life, we don't understand that there are seasons in our life. Some of us are going through seasons. All of us, every person listening to me tonight is going through a certain season. It may not be the season you want, but it's a season God's put you in there for growth. Stop and consider the seasons that we have. We're just getting ready to go into the part of the year where everybody's planting flowers, where everybody's looking forward to the potatoes and the beans and the corn, just getting ready to plant. But when you plant that seed, you have to understand there's a time to plant it. Then you have to give it a season to grow. Then you have to give it a season to mature. Just because something's growing don't mean it's going to mature. And then you have to go out of that maturity into the harvest. Some of us go through seasons and we don't like them at all. Maybe it's a season of sickness or a season of financial barriers, or maybe the marriage is not together right, or maybe friends are not like they should be. In that season, we have to hold on. And we have to trust God no matter what season we're going through. And we have to say, Lord, I may not like this season, but I have to have this season for the other season to come. Many times when we're in the seasons that we don't particularly care for, I hear people in the summertime always saying, oh, I can't wait for it to get cold. But those same people, when it gets cold, they say, I can't wait till it warms up. You can't change seasons in your life. I'm sorry. There's times in your life that when it looks like everything around you is just gone, it looks like it's faded away. Your last harvest has already been harvested, and you're just hanging on and you're saying, God, I don't know where I'm going to make this or not. You may be going through a season of sickness. Maybe you just found out there's something major wrong with you. That's not a good time in your life, but it's a season and it will pass. The only thing we have to do is begin to get around people. A lot of folks say, well, you have to believe. It's hard to believe if you're around the wrong people. You have to be around people of encouragement. When you get into that season of darkness or that problem, when you're just getting ready to plant that seed and you don't see any growth coming out of it, then you have to be around the most positive people you can find. And if you can't find anybody else to encourage yourself, maybe you should do like David said, I encourage myself. Maybe you should say, I've been through this season before, under different circumstances, for different reasons, at a different time. But I've made it through that season. I will make it through this one. I've not had a season that I've enjoyed with my health lately, but my health is getting better. Well, the doctor told me when I found out I had the condition in my heart, and the doctor just flat out told me I can't operate. There's nothing I can do for you. And he looked at Sister Glenn and I and he said, I guess you think I'm a devil. I said, no, you're just telling me the truth. That season was hard. We looked at each other when he walked out the door, and we just held on. And another doctor came in and he looked at me and he said, I know what he told you, but I'm going to get you ready so you can have that operation. Maybe God's getting you ready in the season you're in. And that man worked diligent with me. 3 weeks, almost 4. I was in the hospital just preparing to get ready for the operation. Maybe God's preparing you in the time that when you just, every time you look at something, you want to cry or you want to weep, or you've had sickness in your body, or you've had financial troubles, or your family's not like it should be. It's all right to weep. It's all right to cry. The same scripture says there's a time to weep. People that don't cry sometimes get things built up in their life. The Indian people taught me when I was in Canada on the reservation, they taught me this: tears don't wash your eyes, they wash your soul. Maybe you're in a time and going through where everything's just come against you and you can't get any relief and you can't get any hope and your mind just scatters. You can't sleep at night. Things bother you so much that you're just saying, this is not a good season for me. Well, if you'll just hold on, God will take you through that season. When you're planting that seed and you're going through, you have to say to yourself, I'm not enjoying this. This is not fun, but I'm not going to lose the character that I have. The way you go through a battle is the way your victory will come forth in the end. If you go through sad, my wife always said, don't ever lose your dignity in a battle. When you're going through a battle, keep your dignity, keep your self-restraint, and keep your faith up. And if you have to drive to be around people that encourage you, do that. Get around people that are saying, this is going to pass. This is a season you don't like. It's a season you don't enjoy. I know when we were being raised, we had a garden, and I never liked garden work at all. And we'd plant potatoes. They'd come and plow the ground, and one of my brothers would go through it, take his heel or his foot and put the fertilizer in and then brush it with his foot. My other brother would come by and put those potatoes with the eyes in them. I've never understood why potatoes have to have eyes. I know now it's because of growth, but at that time it amazed me that potatoes had to have eyes because you were going to cover them up anyway and they couldn't see. And I would be the last one in line, and I had to take the hoe and move the dirt over and heal them up so they could grow. I always went last because I didn't particularly enjoy that kind of work. And I'd take several breaks, if you understand what I'm saying. So my brothers would be through before I was through. You're going through things right now. You've already put the fertilizer down. Your faith is already in there. Your faith is already there. You've already mixed the fertilizer and the dirt. Your faith is there. You've planted so many seeds, in spiritual seeds, in prayer, in fasting, in giving, in obedience. You've planted so many seeds. Now you have to put the potato or the source. The source, you have to put the source on top of this. And the first thing you do is begin to say, I'm going to put all my faith, everything I've got inside this. And then I'm going to give it time to grow. Then I'm going to give it time to grow. And when it grows up, just because it sprouts don't mean it's growing. You can pull the sprout up. You can pull the top of the leaves up, but you're not going to have a potato. If you try to pull your season and pull your victory and pull your decisions out early, all you're going to get back is what you put. You don't plant a potato wanting one potato back. You want a bunch of potatoes. So while this thing is growing, give it time to grow. Impatience is a horrible thing. When you get so impatient with God that you think he needs your help, you're not going to be able to help him much. So just give it time to grow. And as it grows, and just because the sprout comes up or the leaves come outside, don't mean it's mature. You can go by an apple tree, and there's apples on the tree, and they're so small that if you pick them, they're not good. But if you let that fruit produce itself and reproduce itself, you can go back and not only you could get a ripe harvest and a growth harvest. When we're going through things, it depends on the maturity that we relax in. When we just tell God, listen, God, if it was up to me, I would do it. It's not up to me. It has to grow. It has to grow. Just because an apple comes forth and a little tiny round seed in an apple, it doesn't mean you can eat that apple. You have to let it mature. Those potatoes, just as soon as they sprout comes up, you can go out and peel them, and you can go out and pick them and dig them, but you're not going to have anything with growth on it. Everything has to have growth in it. It has to mature. If you pull them potatoes or you dig those potatoes or whatever you're planting up early, you're not going to have anything but the seeds you put in, and you're going to waste the time and the energy. Don't waste the time and the energy you've spent and the faith you spent by wanting to mature quicker than God's timing. We can never figure God out. God is always, I always tell this is my line, I always like, God loves to play games. He loves to play hide and seek. He likes to hide and make you seek him. When you go and you see things growing in your life that you don't particularly care about, and it's taken too long, and I know nobody out there, nobody watching me or will watch this, have ever said, God just moves too early. Every time I just think, nobody's ever said that to me, God moves too early. And they that wait upon the Lord, they shall. And they that wait upon the Lord, they shall mount upon wings as an eagle. It didn't say those that hurried God. You can tell God all the time, I'm going to hurry, God, and do this quick. He's not a server in a restaurant. He's a creator. And when you see things in your life that start to mature, don't pull them. I see so many people in the ministry, and especially they want to go into the ministry so bad. They've never studied, they've never applied themselves to God, but they think because they have a ministry, they can just rush into it. You know what the Bible said about a ministry? He said if you have a ministry, to wait for it. The problem with God is he makes us wait. He never does things the same way. You can't figure God out. I've tried. I remember one time I was deathly sick and I was going to North Carolina, and this place had water coming out of a pipe out of a cold spring over there. And every time I went, I took a glass and I would stop there to get me some of that water. And this time I was so sick, just feverish. And I was pastoring the church in Lenore at the time, and I was so sick, and I was just saying, oh God, I'm sweating. I was wiping the sweat. And I never forget, I pulled up in front of that spring, and I got out and put my little glass of water in it, and I said, now God, if I were you and you were me, I would heal you. And I took a drink of that water instantly, just like that. My fever broke, my strength come back. I thought, man, I got this made. I know what to do now. You can't figure God out. He doesn't repeat himself. He's not a God of repetition. He even told you not to repeat yourself. I know you'll say, well, God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Have you ever seen God in a burning bush? Have you ever seen God in a serpent? When you threw your rod down, it turned into a serpent. No, God moves in different ways. Wasn't a few months after that, I got sick again, and I was on the same road, and I thought, I got this made. I made sure I had on the same suit, the same tie, the same socks, same shoes, everything I could come in my mind. And I pulled up in front of that same cool water, took the same glass, got out, turned it up, and absolutely nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. I said the same thing. God, if I were you and you were me, I would heal you. But it didn't work. See, what got you out of the valley the last time may not get you out of the valley this time because you were younger and more immature. See, we're immature. I've been preaching full time 46 years, but in many things I'm still immature, and I have to let that growth come. When we first went to Maine, they raised so many potatoes in Maine, and we were amazed that they would let the school kids go out, and they let school out so they could go harvest the potatoes. And I started checking on them, and I said, well, why are they getting these so early? And they said, well, we make sure the potatoes mature, then we cut the heads off of them because our seasons are not long enough for them to grow the way that, and they grow good in this short season. And they cut the heads off, go and harvest in big machines. And I thought, Lord, it would be great if you'd give us a short season. But when it comes to the things of God, He don't give us a short season. You have to decide which season you're in. Are you in the season of planting? And when you plant, that growth is going to take maturity. The Bible said the whole creation moaneth and groaneth and travaileth in pain, wanting to come forth and manifest themselves as the sons of God. Sometimes when you're getting more mature in God, it's a suffering time. I've never heard of or seen women laugh and giggle when they're giving birth. The seed was planted. The time was there. But if that child comes 3 months early, it may not live. If it comes 5 months early, it most likely won't live because the seed was planted and there was good ground, but it wasn't time yet. When you, and this is the hardest thing I ever do, you have to learn to wait on God. He's not going to bypass you. He's not going to overlook you. Maybe you have a grandchild that's constantly sick, and you're saying, well, I just wish the Lord would move. Listen to me. God can move. It'll take Him a minute, but He can move. I'll never forget, Christopher, I went into my office one time upstairs when it was upstairs and had this beautiful leather chair. And I'd heard Christopher talking, and he got in that leather chair and he said, I'm going to preach. And he said, you know what? I'm God. I might not have got around to it, but I'll get around to getting what you want done. And I thought that's probably the best thing I've ever heard, because God don't move on our time. You can't set the microwave and say 2 seconds or 2 minutes. There's a season of waiting. We don't like it. We despise it. There's a season of planting, and there's a season of growing. And when that growth takes place, I remember having to go through and take the weeds out of the potatoes and the corn and the green beans. I remember seeing little green beans come up on a stake, and we always put little stakes up so they could climb up the pole. But just because they were climbing up the pole, you didn't pick them when they were this big. You waited till they got mature. Some of us, and I don't like to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, some of us picked our fruit too early in one of our previous battles with things. We picked the fruit too early, and it didn't come out the way we expected it. We were in such a hurry. We were in such a hurry to pick the fruit that we didn't give it time to mature. Every one of you listen to me. There are times of maturity that you have to go through. If you want to be a child, if you walk in and there's a cute little baby laying there with a bottle in its mouth, and it's 3, 4, 5, 6 months old, and that baby's got that bottle and it's just working on it, That's a wonderful thing. That's right. But if you find that baby 10 or 12 years from now, and it's still got the same model and in the same position, there's a problem there. Some of us don't let the seasons work the way they should work. Nobody plants potatoes in the snowy times of December. They wait till it comes time. And when the spring comes forth, they start planting their seeds whenever they're going to grow. God is trying to tell us there's a season you're going through. Do you think Jesus liked the season that he saw Calvary and he knew that was his destiny? Do you like that? Do you know that season? You know what he said about that season? Father, if it be thy will, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. There was a season he had to go through, a season of maturity. It took him 33 years to prepare for that one season in his life. When the death came, when the death angel came, the Bible said Jesus gave up the ghost. While they were looking at it, he was crying, Father, forgive them. They know what they do. He was suffering in that season. He was suffering in that season. But his next season was that he rose again on the third day. Even before the third day, he went into the bellies of the earth and began to preach. While you're going through your season, you're not useless. You feel useless. People look at you like you're useless. They act like you're useless. But when Jesus went to that cross, he was not useless. He was the lamb that was slain from the foundations of the earth. And it had taken generations of time for him to grow to where he could say, Father, not my will, but thy will be done. It's a hard thing to say. When you're going through situations, it's hard to wait on God. It's almost impossible for some of us because we're so used to snapping our fingers and getting things done. Not only does it make you mature, it lets you see that you can't do the things God does. I would never serve a God that could only do what I do. I want to serve a God that can supersede what I do. Even in the times when you're going through sicknesses and trials in your life, they're still healing in your hands. Your trial doesn't affect what you've already accomplished. Even times, and I told you the story about the little lady that had passed away, and I needed the healing. I kept seeing her face, and when they sent me the prayer cloth, in 3 days I was totally healed. And doctors told me there was nothing they could do about it. And I'm healed to this day. Just because death don't separate you from ministry. A lot of the older ministers, A. Allen, Jack Cole, H. Richard Hall, Amy Simpleton McPherson, all these ladies and gentlemen that went ahead of us, they didn't die. Their spirit is still very much alive. Sometimes when I minister, I feel the spirit of H. Richard Hall move up on me. And my wife even looks and she said, when that spirit was on you, you were standing like Brother Hall stood. It's not that I tried to copy him. It's that somewhere in one of my seasons, he helped me out. It is important and imperative. It is important and imperative that you be around men and women of God that are your mentors. And it's important that you take care of mentors. You know, when you don't take care of mentors, you're not under their covering. And that covering, I remember when I'd go to Brother Hall's meetings, he always asked for $100, and I'd save and get the $100 back. But Sister Glenn always stuck as much money as we could in her pocket. And every night after church, he'd come and hug us, and I'd just reach over and stick an envelope in his pocket, saying, you're my mentor. This was for the ministry part, but this is for you. When your seasons come, we don't like them. The only season we like is when the victory comes and we're shunned in and shunned down and tell everybody, I'm the greatest person on earth. Look what God did for me. Well, tomorrow it could be different. If you remember, a great man of God said, we're going to prove whose God is whose God. And he proved all the false prophets came. All the false prophets came from everywhere. And he showed them whose God was God. But the next day, not the next year, not the next month, it was a season of victory for him. He wanted to show Jezebel that all her prophets were false. He took them to Baal and he said, we're gonna build us something up here. Let your gods do all they want to do. And they couldn't start the fire. And this man said, let's just cover it with water. Let's almost immerse it with water. And God still set the altar on fire. But the next day, not 10 weeks away, not 45 days away, but the next day, he found himself sitting under a juniper tree and requesting of God that he might die. One season changes into another season. You have to be mature enough to know that just one season doesn't affect the other. Many of you have planted seeds of faith, you've planted seeds of finances, you've planted seeds of love, you've planted seeds of kindness, you've read your words, you've fasted, you've prayed. Those seeds will sustain you. You might shake a little bit, and sometimes you might look out and say, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. But if you'll just hold on, the season is coming. The season that you're looking for is coming. We all like to be in the season of harvest, where everywhere you go, people throw money at you. And you go to the doctor's office, and he said, what are you even doing in here? Get out. I never want to see you again. You go to the dentist, and he said, well, I don't know what happened. You got old gold teeth. All your bills are paid. You got $1 million in the bank. Sure, that's a wonderful time, I'm sure. But somebody's got to pay for that. You don't get anything free from God. You don't get things free from God. I say God's the biggest con artist in the world. He gives you salvation free and makes you pay for everything else. And when you begin to pay, you're paid from season to season to season to season. When you transfer seasons, all the good things behind you go with you. All the things that you have suffered and gone through, all the sacrifices you've made, whether they've been mental, physical, financial, or natural, all those attributes go with you. You're just going to a higher level. You're just going to a higher level. Christian people, and I want to make this concept for you. Christian people, when we go from this level to that, it's promotion. But it's not an easy promotion because we've got to forget this to get there. When you're in your job and they call you and say, we're giving you a promotion, we just go crazy. Well, thank you. How much is the raise? What is going to happen? But when God begins to promote us, we whine and complain and fuss, and we dwell in our mind. We can't sleep, we can't eat, we can't drink, because we're just, oh God, am I going to make this one? This one's going to kill me. No, every battle you've ever had, you thought it was going to destroy you, but it didn't. It made you better. The fruit you're carrying is a fruit worth having. A lot of people will say, well, these people never do anything. Every time I go to church, they shout all over me, or they shundi all over me. I got news for you, my friend. God don't trust. He don't test people he can't trust. And if he can trust you, he can test you because he wants to elevate you. When you see these people that never go through anything, it's because they don't have anything. They don't have anything in the spirit, the world, the natural, the supernatural. You never regret the fact that you paid a price to get where you're at. Whatever season you're going through, you may not like it. You may not be enjoying it. But God has promised you, I am with you always, even to the ends of the world. Whatever season you're in, it might be a season of frustration or a season that says, I just can't stand this anymore. You can stand it. You can just hold on. I used to sing the song all the time that one of the girls wrote, and sometimes a mountain, another hill, and sometimes a mountain, a road with rocks that hurt my feet. But as long as he walks along beside me, I can take it. There'll be no retreat. Most of us are mature enough in God to where we don't even think about going back. We know we're in a season and it's going to come and go. But we need people around us to encourage that. Many times you go to church and instead of encouraging you, people discourage you. You need to make sure you're in a place where people encourage you all the time. I've always said I don't want to die, but if I ever die, I want somebody to put on my tombstone, he never discouraged me. Because I've not spent my life discouraging people and telling them what they can't do. I've told them, yes, you're struggling, and yes, you're having a hard time, but this too shall pass. Whatever season you're going through, God is the author and the finisher of your faith. You don't even write it. You don't even use God's faith. You have to use God's faith because you don't have any faith left. You use yours up getting to where you are now. So whatever season you're going through, whether you're planting, whether you're letting grow, whether you're harvesting, whether you're reaping, whatever season you're going through, you begin to say, God, this season's going to change. Good things are going to happen, and I'm not going back. I will arise and go to my Father, for in my Father's house are many mansions. I want to pray with you today, and I want you to pray for me as I pray for you. And I'm going to ask that we, as Christian people, pray one for another. And I'm going to ask that you will reach down into the depths of your spirit and your heart, and let's just pray one for another. Father, in the name of Jesus, I believe and claim that the seasons that every one of these people are going through, I claim this season will be a season of victory soon. I want them to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I want them to know they're not alone. We're walking with them and you're walking with them. Whatever the sickness, whatever the financial problem, whatever the family problem, whatever the trial they're going through. God, maybe someone found out they're going through divorce. You can do this for them. You can do this. Let this season come. Let us not pick it early. Let us not grab the fruit early. Let it mature so we won't have to do this again. I speak it in the name of Jesus. Some of you tonight, I'm going to tell you your season's getting ready to change for the better. Your season is getting ready to change for the better. I thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Please listen to me for about 2 minutes. Don't forget our great camp meeting. And also, we'd appreciate this week if you do your very best in an offering. You can go to our PayPal and it just pops right up. You can go to my website. If you don't want to do it that way, you can go to my website. And there's 3 or 4 places it just says donate. When you push there, the information will come up. You just fill your credit card in and put in as much as you want to. Go buy some of our CDs. You can send us an offering at Post Office Box 28, Mountain City, Tennessee. We just went to North Carolina and we were in a meeting and the starter went on their cars at the garage now. They told me today it would cost about $500 to get it out. Maybe you want to help us with that. Maybe you want to pay the whole thing. And remember, what you make happen for me, God will make happen for you. You can put that on PayPal. It'll be in my bank account in the morning. Instead of you sending it to me, it'll be in my bank account in the morning. They only take about 1.5%. That's 1 cent out of the dollar. So if you can do something special for us this week, I would appreciate it. If you would do something special, if you want to send it to the post office, it's Post Office Box 28, Mountain City, Tennessee, 37683. You can go to our PayPal in several different ways. Be sure, some of you folks from overseas, if you'll just sit down and go to that PayPal and send us something special from around the world. We know we're reaching a lot of people. So I want you to go tonight. Go right now. Don't even wait. This is your season of planting. This is your season of planting. Last week, God spoke to me about a release offering. When you plant this seed in this ministry today, as soon as you can, I guarantee you're going to have a harvest quicker than any other financial gift you've ever given any ministry. Quicker than any financial gift you've ever given to any ministry. So I want you to pray for us. I want you to support us. Help us. I'm getting ready to start my mentor program up, and we're going to do it through the website so you can get the CDs right from there. Don't forget us this week. We'll be looking for you next week. We'll have this on Facebook, and if you would, share it with as many people. Call some of your friends and send this link to them. And one more thing I want to remind you. When you go to our YouTube, if you will subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. But every time we go live on YouTube, they will let you know on your phone or your email or your iPad. Just put your email in there and they will let you know when we're coming on. And you can watch it right from that device. Don't forget to pray for us. Don't forget to do your best at an offering this week. Do your very, very best. I would appreciate it. Remember this, if God hadn't been with you, you would not have made it this far. God bless you and God bless America.